We are going to look at price elasticity of demand and supply. Learning outcomes. By the end of this section, you should be able to define price elasticity, calculate the price elasticity of demand and price elasticity of supply, interpret whether demand or supply is elastic, inelastic, or unit elastic. Price elasticity measures how responsive the quantity demand or supplied is to a change in price. It helps businesses determine how changes in price affect the quantity sold, customer demand, producer supply, and total revenue. The general formula for price elasticity, we have elasticity is equals to percentage change in quantity over percentage change in price. And then the absolute value of elasticity, which is the numerical value without the sign, is interpreted as follows. If the elasticity is greater than 1, then we say elastic, it's elastic. That is, if the value is less than -1 or greater than 1, and then if the absolute value is less than 1, then we say it's inelastic. So that is a negative, it's between -1 and 1. So -1 less than the elasticity less than 1, it means that this is between the value, the numerical value is between -1 and 1, sorry. And then if this absolute value is equals to 1, then we say it's unit elastic. That is, if it's equals to -1 or a positive 1. All right. So this sign it means less. And then this one, it means more than. So this is less than. So if it's less than -1, and then this is more than +1. And in this one, it tells that the value will be between -1 and 1. So I'm going to draw a number line just to show you what we mean by less than and what we mean by greater than and what we mean by between. So if this is my number line, so I'm just going to use the number line so that it's easier for us to understand. And then we have, so I'm going to say this is 0. And then we're going to say, let's say this is 0.5, then 1, then this is 1.5. And in this side, it's a negative value. So this will be 0.5. So it's -0.5. And then -1. And then -1.5. So if we say the value that we got is less than -1, it means that it's from here to the left that is less than. All the values that start from here to the left is less than, and then greater than 1. So it means the values that start from here to there, it's greater than. All right, to the right, greater. So meaning that 1.1, 1.2 until 1, something, that's greater than 1. Then -1.1, 1.2, -1.5 to the left, that is less than. All right, and then, so this is less than, and then this is more than or greater than. And then between, it means that it's the values. If we say between -1 and 1, so it means it's the values from here to there. That's between. So the values from -1 until the 1. This is between. That's what we mean by between by this. So it means that it's the values starting from -1. So it's -0.5. All the values that are between these two numbers, then it's inelastic. And then unit elastic, okay, we know it's equals -1 or +1. That's unit elastic. All right. And then I hope this makes sense. And then we have price elasticity of demand. All right. So it says here that the price elasticity of demand measures how the quantity demanded changes when the price changes. And then we know that demand has a negative relationship with price. When price increases, demand decreases. And then when it decreases, then demand increases. All right. So we have the formula for price elasticity of demand. So the ED is equals to percentage change in Q over percentage change in P, or we can say the change in Q over the change in P. So this triangle, we say it's a change. So meaning this is Q1 minus Q2. You'll see here I said note that the change means that it's Q2 minus Q1 over P2 minus P1. So which is the slope? If you remember, we did this as a slope. So this is the slope. If you remember, this is how we're calculating the slope by saying Q2 minus Q1 over P2 minus P1. So when you're calculating the price elasticity, you are going to use this formula. And then for the demand function, we know that demand function is Q is equals to A minus BP. The elasticity can also be written as, so this formula, we use it if you want our answer to be in terms of P. So if you want our answer to be in terms of P, we are going to use this formula. All right, so this one, we use it when we want our answer to be in terms of P. So meaning that our final answer must have P, sorry, in terms of P. And then this one, we just use it. But if they say in terms of P, you can use this one. So these two formulas are the same because the change in Q over the change in P is actually our B, which is this B. You can see in B, we know that it's negative, so it's negative B. And then we all know that our Q is equals to A minus BP. So I substituted the Q with the A minus BP. So all these three formulas are actually the same. 1, 2, 3, they are the same, right? So it depends on what you're given. And then we have what we call arc price elasticity of demand. So they say the arc price elasticity measures the elasticity of demand over an interval. So this is when you have 2 points over an interval from this point to this point, right? From this price to this price, from this quantity to this quantity. Then we use this formula that has 2 prices and 2 quantities, right? So you'll also see that when we do the example. So here, for us to get to the final answer, you'll notice that these two, they cancelled. Half divided by half give you 1. That's why our formula ends up with this. And we all know that this is our slope, which is the negative B. Right. Slope is a negative B here. The slope, actually, the change in Q over the change in P is equals to B, which is the slope. Okay, now let's look at the examples. I hope this is clear. This is clear, but we'll see with the examples whether you understand or not. So we have examples here. Okay, so it says that the demand and the supply functions for a certain type of laptop are given by. So we have QD. So QD, it's the function for the demand, and then this one, yeah, QD is the function for the demand, and we have it as and then this one is for supply. P is dependent on this of the supply formula, and then this one Q is dependent. All right. So now let's look at the question. So you have two actually functions. This one is for supply. You will see the S is there. This one is for the demand. You see it with the D. This one you see it with an S there. All right. So it says here determine, sorry, it's up to you how you pronounce it. Determine the demand when price is 30 rand. So it means that when my Q is 30, so we know that this is the price. Why am I saying Q? P, when my P is 30, they want us to calculate the demand. All right, so we know that our formula for demand is QD, actually function. as 400 minus 4p. So I am given the price, so it means that wherever I see p, I'm going to substitute with 30. So we are going to have QD is equals to 400 minus 4, and then in bracket, we put the 30 rand. And then the answer, it's going to be, it means that the quantity demand is going to be how many units? 280 units. And use your calculator. And then we move on to B. B says determine the price when the quantity demanded is 0. So this means that when your Q is 0, so this is our Q. When your Q is 0, so we have to determine the price. So we're looking for P now, okay? So we're still using the formula for the demand because we're talking about demanded. So QD is equals to 400 minus 4P. Then we are going to substitute. They said that this is 0, so it means that we are going to have 0, then is equals to 400 minus 4p. Then we need to solve for the p. So you take this to the other side. So this will be a positive 4. P is equals to 400. And then now we need to solve for p. So we are going to divide both sides by 4 because we want to solve for p. Then this means that p will be equals to 100 rand. All right, so that's the price when the quantity demanded is 0. All right, and then now we move on to C. And then C says, find the expression of the point price elasticity of demand in terms of price only. So they want their answer in terms of P. If you remember very well what I said about in terms of P. So in terms of P, I said we are going to use this formula, if you remember. When they say in terms of P, we use this formula, one of these two, anyway. Okay. So we are going to have, okay, I just want to push. All right. Okay. So in terms of P, so firstly, we know that our quantity demand function is, let's start with that. So we know that our quantity demand function is demanded. Okay, so it's Q is equals to 400 minus 4P. Let's start there. All right, and we all know that the standard form for this formula is, we already know that this is our B, by the way. We know that this is our B. -4 is our slope. If you remember very well, that's our B. Remember, the standard form for a demand function, it's Q is equals to, what is it? Is it A? A minus BP. So this being your slope. Okay, just to remind you. All right. And then now, remember, when you calculate the point price elasticity, the formula we said we're going to use this one. So it's ED is equals to a negative B, because they said the answer must be in terms of price. So it means it's in terms of P. And then this is open bracket. It's P over A minus BP. Or we can say A over Q. Actually, let me do it like this. So this is actually P over Q, not A over Q, sorry. Yeah, I'm going to use this one. All right, because I have my Q. So now we're going to substitute. All right, so this will be our ED is equals to -4, because our B is -4. Open bracket, P, we don't have P, over our Q is this, it's 400 minus 4P. Okay, so This is our ED in terms of P. So that's our answer. All right. So sometimes we'll factorize, but it's not going to change anything. Even if you factorize, it's still the same. All right. So that's our point price elasticity of demand in terms of P, because they wanted the answer in terms of P. So that's the answer. All right. And then now we go to D. So D, they're saying calculate the point price elasticity of demand when P is equals to 20. So it means that when the P is equals to 20, they want to know what will be our ED. So we already solved for the function, for the point price elasticity of demand in terms of P. So we are going to use this now. All right. So I'm going to use this, which is for me to calculate. So we're going to start with this one. So I'm going to say when. Okay, let me write the formula first, sorry. So my ED is equals to -4, open bracket, P over 400 minus 4P. All right. So that's what we're going to use, sorry. That's what we're going to use. So firstly, let's start. So we're going to say when. Let's see. When our P is equals to 20. Let's see what's going to happen. So this will be ED is equals to -4. Open bracket, your P is 20. So this will be 20 over 400 minus 4. Our P again is 20. And then we get the answer. So our ED is going to be equals to, with the calculator, you're going to get -0.25. If it's a fraction, press SD on your calculator to get the decimal number. So if it's -0.25, it means that now this value is between -1 and +1. So therefore, it means that the demand is inelastic. Inelastic. Okay, so this actually, I'll just write it here. So this is between -1 and 1. So this is between. All right. And then now we move on to when. Now I'm gonna write it just next to it. When, now we're gonna do when our P is equals to 50. So now let's see what happens. So my ED is going to be equals to -4. Now wherever I see P, I put 50 now. So this will be 50 over 400 minus 4. And then I also put 50. And then now we use the calculator. When you use the calculator, the answer is going to be a -1. So if it's a -1, we all know that the demand, then therefore it means that the demand is unit elastic, because this is equals to ED is equals to -1. So we're going to say demand is unit elastic. All right, elastic. And then now we go to E. With the E, they're saying, with E, it says calculate the arc elasticity point if the price increases from 30 rands to 40 rands. So if you remember with the arc elasticity of demand, remember we said that the arc price elasticity measures it measures the elasticity of demand over an interval. So this is an interval. This is an interval. This is an interval. All right. So it means that this is my P. the price 1. So let's call this price 1 and this is price 2. So it means that now I am missing the quantity for these prices. All right. So for price 1, we're going to look for those quantities. So price 1, so I'm going to say quantity 1 is going to be equals to, we are going to use the quantity demand formula or function that we already have, which is QD is equals to 400 minus 4P. All right. So we are going to use, I'm going to start with the P1. So if my P1 is equals to 30 rand, my price, then when I calculate my Q1, I am going to have 400 minus 4. Then I put 30 rands here. Then my final answer is going to be 280. And then for 40 rand, so if my price is 40 rand, so this is P2. Price 2 is 40 rand. Then when I have to calculate the quantity for price 2, is going to be 400 minus 4 times 40. Then it means my answer is going to be 240 units. All right. So now when we calculate the arc elasticity of demand, we're going to use the formula for that. So we know that the formula for arc price elasticity of demand is this ED is equals to negative B, then times price 1 plus price 2 over quantity 1 plus quantity 2. And then now we substitute. All right. Now we substitute. So we are going to have negative 4 times the price 1 is 30 plus 40 over 280 plus 240. So when you use the calculator, sorry, it's 40. When you use the calculator, the final answer is going to be negative 0.53846. Then we round it off to 2 decimal places. When you round it off to 2 decimal places, you look at the third decimal number, which is more than 5. Then you're going to add 1. So this will be negative 0.54. And then because this price is between negative 1 and 1, so we are going to say, therefore, the demand is inelastic because it's between negative 1 and 1. All right. So it's less than negative 1. All right. So, and then we have, okay, so this is how we do the arc price elasticity of demand. Okay. So when coming to price elasticity of supply, everything is still the same. So price elasticity of supply measures how the quantity supplied changes when the price changes. Okay, so supply has a positive relationship we all know from supply and demand. All right, and then this is the formula. So if you can check, the formulas are the same. Formulas are the same. The only difference is the supply function. So it means that here you are going to replace this Q with the supply function. Everything is still the same basically. The D is the slope, is the D is the slope. And the questions are going to be similar. So if you can do the demand, you can also, the elasticity of demand, you can also do the elasticity of supply. So that's why I did not do the examples for elasticity of supply. It's going to be the same thing. It's basically the same thing. The only difference is the supply function. All right. And then that's it. That is that. Thank you very much.